Good morning, sir.
Okay, so in the last lecture, we had taken up the class regarding introduction to seismological engineering. Okay, so in that regard, we already had a discussion about the introduction of this thing, the occurrence of earthquake, how the occurrence of earthquake take place, what are the different characteristics and parameters you have to study in earthquake, like epicenter, the focus, and the focal length. Okay, all these things you have considered till now. So I hope there is no doubt in that particular thing since we'll be moving forward. Is there any doubt in the previous topics related to this seismic engineering?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll move forward in that direction. Moreover, apart from the introductory part, you have also studied how the occurrence takes place. Okay, how the volcanic activities may trigger earthquakes. Then the tectonic activities, the movement of tectonic plates, they also causes earthquake, plus the fault line. Okay, the interplate earthquake, intraplate earthquake, all the tectonic plate theory, all you have studied up till now. So it is quite easy to relate all those theories and come up to a conclusion that how the occurrence of earthquake take place and what are the effects that it could generate. Okay, so now we'll be dealing with a couple of technical things over here. So in that regard, the very first thing that we'll be studying is the waves produced due to the earthquake. So you all have an idea that being the student of science and physics, you all you have an idea that earthquake, what causes destruction? Earthquake, wherever there is an earthquake, why earthquake is considered to be a natural disaster? Because the what is the inference? The result is it always results in destruction, either on a small scale or large scale. It always results in destruction. So why this destruction is caused? It is caused due to the what? Due to the energy. What is earthquake? It is sudden release of the energy. Now this energy will be traveling when it travels from the focus to the epicenter and from epicenter to the surface crust. Then what happens? This energy, this traveling take place in the form of waves. So basically, there are certain waves which are seismic waves which are produced by the earthquake. So these seismic waves also, there are certain waves that constitute the seismic wave. Together, these all these waves are known as seismic waves. But there are different waves in that also, that waves classify based on their characteristics. Okay, so seismic waves produced by the earthquake, they may be basically divided into two major categories. What are those two categories? They are body waves and surface waves. Okay, now this with the help of this diagrammatic representation, you can very easily understand the concept. This one, see in this particular diagram, body waves, where the body waves is written and where the indication is inside the earth's surface. Okay, and where is the surface waves, as the name suggests, on the surface. Okay, so the very first inference that you can take out from the names of these waves is that the body waves are those waves which propagates inside the earth's surface, and the waves which propagates on the surface of the earth earth's crust, that those are what? Those are named as surface waves. Okay, now they are again classified into three categories: P waves, S waves, and together known as surface waves. Just a minute. Okay. Yeah. So first we'll consider body waves. Body waves are those waves which travel through the interior of the earth's surface. That means inside, the propagation takes place inside the earth's surface. These body waves may be classified into further two categories, that are primary and secondary waves. So the abbreviation for that is basically termed as the name of the waves, that is P wave and S wave. So these P waves and S waves, they constitute together what? They constitute together the body wave. Okay. Okay, now the second diagram, just notice the second diagram, the wave motion. So how these P waves, primary waves, are differentiated from secondary waves? They are differentiated with the help of the wave motion, that is the particle motion. Okay, so you can see the difference in the with the help of this diagram. You can see the difference. What is the difference between the both of the wave motion? In first one, the particle motion is, what kind of particle motion is there? See this one. Okay, this is the direction of particle motion. In the second one, in secondary waves, the direction of particle motion is this, that means up and down. Okay, so in wave motion, what will happen? In P waves, the particle motion is back and forth. Okay, and in S waves, the particle motion is, you can say, vertically up and down. Okay, so then another 3D representation of this undistributed medium. So if this particular thing is a medium, then what will happen? Since P wave is having the particle motion in back and forth direction, so the entire medium will be undisturbed. But in case of secondary wave, what will happen? See over here, you cannot see any dilation, but in case of secondary waves, you can see what? You can see certain wave formation. Okay, so the sample will be what? It may not be undistributed, it will be changed. Okay, so if you'll compare these P waves, the primary waves and secondary waves both, then what are the differences? The primary waves, they travels through liquids and solids. Okay, and secondary waves, they travel through the solids only. Then, on the other hand, primary waves, it pushes and pulls material as they move through the Earth's surface. That means the particle motion is in back and forth direction. And in secondary waves, you can see it makes the rocks vibrate up and down or sideways. Why? Because the particle motion is in, as we seen in the wave motion diagram, the particle motion किस direction में? Vertical direction में, vertically up and down. Then thirdly, this primary waves, they travel about 8 kilometer per second. What is the speed of traveling? It is around approximately 8 kilometer per second. Then the secondary waves, they travel about at near around 4.5 kilometer per second, which is comparatively less than the primary waves. Okay, then primary waves, it cause the first movement which you feel in an earthquake. Okay, so since, yeah, see, with the speed also you can determine what reaches, which of these waves reaches first to the surface. The primary waves. Okay, so primary waves reaches first to the surface, but which causes more damage? Why it reaches first? Because the speed of traveling of these waves, yeah, or you can say the propagation of these waves is way faster than the, almost double the speed of secondary wave. So on the surface you will feel the primary wave first, but the secondary wave causes usually more damage or more destruction. Okay, now what is the similarity between both? Both of these waves originate from the same focus, that is the focal point. Okay, the point of generation of earthquake, or the point where this thing, the sudden release of energy takes place inside the earth's surface, that is your focus. So both of these waves originate from the focus itself. Okay, both of them begin at the same time, but and both of them can be felt on the earth's surface. But what is the difference we have already talked about. पार्टिकल मोशन में डिफरेंस है, सॉलिड लिक्विड में ट्रैवलिंग में डिफरेंस है. देन मेजर डिफरेंस क्या है? स्पीड में. प्राइमरी वेव्स बहुत फास्ट ट्रैवल करती है और उसकी हाफ स्पीड पर ट्रैवल, ऑलमोस्ट हाफ स्पीड पर ट्रैवल करती है सेकेंडरी वेव. बट डिस्ट्रक्शन कौन ज़्यादा कॉज करता है? सेकेंडरी वेव. ओके, okay, so here is again this thing, a comparative analysis of P waves and S wave. See, both are high frequency waves, both have short wavelength, but primary waves is having longitudinal waves and secondary waves have transverse waves. Why? Because of the particle motion. Then primary waves, it passes through both solid and liquid. S wave, it cannot move through the liquid. Then again the particle motion, it moves forward and backward as it is compressed and decompressed. P wave is faster with the velocity on the earth's surface, therefore P waves arrive the first. Then afterwards S wave is, since being a slower wave, okay, S waves or secondary waves arrive the next one. Okay, then these were what? These were body waves. So basically again just brush it up. So seismic waves का classification दो different types में होगा, surface waves and body waves. Body waves will be further classified into two different categories, P wave and S wave, which are primary and secondary wave. जिसमें से primary wave faster है, surface पे जल्दी आएगी, but destruction secondary wave बाद में feel होता है, लेकिन destruction ज़्यादा cause कौन करता है? Secondary wave. Then we'll talk about surface wave. Now these surface waves are those which travels parallel to the earth's surface, and these waves are the slowest and most damaging. Always remember, जितनी वेव दिस सीस्मिक वेव्स की स्पीड जितनी कम होगी, ओके, जितनी कम वेलोसिटी होगी उतना ही क्या होगा, डिस्ट्रक्शन ज़्यादा होगा, उतनी ही जो वेव होगी वो ज़्यादा डैमेजिंग होगी. Okay, so the surface waves is again classified into two categories, that is love waves and Rayleigh waves. Okay, now again see the wave motion particle motion. Okay, the diagram over here you can see Rayleigh waves, and in the second one you can see the love wave. Okay, now anybody who can explain the difference between both by just having a look at these wave particle motion. Yes, anyone? Nobody? Aram, Pratham, what happened to you people? Hmm? Arre, it is quite simple, no? Just observe the wave motion. Just observe the particle motion in the wave. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's move forward. See, in this diagram, it may be more clear to you. Okay, these are Rayleigh waves and what surface waves. So here in this particular diagram, see in this diagram you can clearly see the deviation. The deviations actually over here you can see these deviations represent the, it also represents the amount of destruction which is caused. See the wavelength over here, P waves is having a shorter wavelength, then S waves comparatively larger wavelength, then surface waves. The moment it arrives on the surface, the destruction is huge. Okay, to see the difference between love waves and Rayleigh waves. Both are guided waves, but in love waves, displacement is parallel to the free surface, while in Rayleigh waves, what is there? The displacement is perpendicular to the love wave displacement. Okay. On comparing the speed, the love wave is faster, Rayleigh waves is comparatively slower. Now again, the one which is faster will be causing what? Will be causing lesser damage. So love wave, it causes horizontal shifting of the earth's surface, and Rayleigh waves, it causes the ground to move in circular motion. Okay, see, then the measurement of earthquake. The measurement of earthquake is done with the help of what? With the help of seismometers. These seismometers are basically the instrument that measures motions of the ground, including what? Including the seismic waves generated by the earthquake, volcanic eruptions, or any other seismic activities or sources like tectonic movements and all. Okay, so it basically works on the principle of this particular what? This particular this pendulum theory. Okay, so what happens? A heavy mass which is in resting motion, it is allowed to what? Allowed to suspend. Okay, and with the help of attached pen and paper, a moving paper, okay, what happens whenever any dampening effect is there, whenever any vibrations or any seismic waves are felt by this particular device, then what happens? It just starts vibrating, and this vibrating thing, the pen which is drawing a straight line, it will be showing deviations. Okay, so this is the principle basically. This is the basic diagram or phenomena on which this seismometers work. Now nowadays we have advanced seismometers. With the help of this principle, we have developed sensors. Based on those sensors, we have advanced even you can say handled seismometers are available right now. Okay, so that is something which is which has happened over the time period of time. Okay, next is your types of zone. Okay, so the earthquake zoning map of India divides India into presently into four seismic zones. Earlier it was five seismic zones, but the latest one it is four seismic zones. At the very first, at the very beginning, when this thing when our nation was divided into seismic zones, earlier it was divided into seven seismic zone. Then it got reduced from seven to five. Then right now it is four seismic zone. And what are these zone? Zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, and zone 5. Zone 1 has been eliminated. Okay, zone 2 is said to be the least active seismic zone. Zone 3 it is included in the moderate seismic zone. Then zone 4 is there, which is considered to be the high seismic zone. And then there is the zone 5, which is the highest seismic zone. Now, anybody, you all are living in NCR only, so anybody who can answer the question that in which zone Delhi or the National Capital Region falls? Any idea in which particular zone the National Capital Region falls? No idea.
So zone 3.
Third.
No, it's not in zone 3. Now, this is your wild guess, or you actually know the answer?
Sir, guess.
No, it is not zone 3 actually. Okay, just go through this particular thing. See, you should be knowing this particular thing. Already you have faced so many earthquake. Every other day, you people are facing earthquake. Mild, it may be mild. Fortunately, it is not that severe. But since last couple of years, there are too many earthquakes in Delhi. So you must be having an idea about this thing. All of you have felt the earthquake, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes. Then none of you wondered in which particular zone this falls. This is a small assignment for you. Tomorrow I'll be asking which zone, Delhi falls in, and also a couple of cities, nearby cities. You should be nearby regions. I'll ask. Okay. So, see, this is the entire seismic zoning map of India developed by the Geological Survey of India. Okay. So, over here, if you'll observe the index, you will be able to see that five zones are listed over here. So, this is a earlier map. Okay. And latest in the latest this thing publication, you'll find only four zones. Okay, so over here also, based on the color, you can find out the severity of the zone. So see the Delhi no need for assignment also. The Delhi region, just observe the color and observe the index, and now tell me in which particular zone does Delhi falls. Delhi falls in which zone? In zone 4. And zone 4 is
4.
considered to be high seismic zone. Okay, zone 4 is considered to be the high seismic zone. Zone 5 is actually the highest seismic zone, but the northeastern part of our nation is prone to that particular zone. But Delhi is exposed to, or you can say Delhi is classified under zone 4. Okay, so we'll end the lecture today here only. Okay, and in the next lecture, we'll be studying that how the destruction is caused by these waves or these earthquakes and all. Okay, any doubt till here?